Good morning, students. Let us start and continue the same chapter, India Location, Chapter 1 from the book India People and Economy. We have discussed the topics like location, latitudinal extension, longitudinal extent and its implications on the Indian people, number of states and union territories, and we have also discussed about the concept of Indian Standard Time. We will discuss today total area, size and India's relation with the neighboring countries. We have discussed about some geographical facts related to India and latitudinal longitudinal extensions of India, and we have also discussed about its implications, longitudinal extent and its implications, like it helps in easy trade between West Asia, Africa, European countries. Longer coastline means more number of seaports for more trade. We have discussed all these things, and the facts, in fact we have discussed about the number of states and union territories and concept of Indian Standard Timing. Now let us discuss about the total area and size of India. The total area of the country is 3.28 million square kilometer, which is about 2.4% of the total geographical area of the world. Okay, and very important thing which you should always keep in mind, that India shares its 15,200 kilometer long land border with Bangladesh and Myanmar in the east, China, Nepal, Bhutan in the north, and Pakistan and Afghanistan in the northwest, right? And there are a number of countries which are larger than India are Russia, China, Brazil, Canada, Australia and USA. Okay, just now I have discussed with you that India shares 15,200 kilometer long border with Bangladesh and Myanmar. Okay, now you can see here that the length of the border in kilometers is given on the right hand side, and some countries' names are also given. What about this? In fact, this is what the length of the India's border with the neighboring countries. Okay, when you add all these, Bangladesh length of the border, then China's border, then Myanmar, Pakistan and Afghanistan, you will see that, or you will get 15,200 kilometers. Okay. Now, the very important thing is that the mainland of India has 6,100 kilometer coastline, which is its sea frontier. If the coastlines of Andaman and Nicobar Islands as well as those of Lakshadweep, because these two are the important islands that we have, right? Lakshadweep Islands are added, then the sea frontier of India stretches to 7,517 kilometer. Okay. Obviously, India is a vast country and is the 7th largest country of the world with respect to its area. Right. So, we can see here that India is the 2nd largest country in the world with respect to population also. How is it so? Because the population, as far as the population is concerned, next to China, China stands first in the world and India stands second in the world. Okay, and in the world with respect to population, next to China and south of the 22 degree north latitude, the Indian Peninsula tapers. Okay, Indian Peninsula tapers. You can see it gets narrowed in the Indian Ocean and divides it into two parts. Which are those two parts? The western and the eastern parts, which are known as Arabian Sea, and the second one is Bay of Bengal. Okay, and they are called Arabian Sea on the western side and eastern side, Bay of Bengal respectively. So, these seas have played a significant role. Got it? These seas have in fact are or playing a very significant role, a very important role in strengthening the trade and cultural contact of India with Africa, Southwest Asia, Southeast Asia. However, at other times, these seas have acted as a barrier to human interactions. Okay, now you can see one very important thing. Rajasthan, as I told you, is the largest and Goa is the smallest state with respect to area. Right. Then one very important thing which I would like to tell you about India is that, or of our country is that, sorry, India in the Eastern world. What about India's position in the Eastern world? India occupies a very significant and a very important central position at the head of Indian Ocean between West Asia and East Asia. Got it? It lies in between West Asia and East Asia. The Deccan Peninsula, remember, you must have read it in junior classes also. The Deccan Peninsula juts into the Indian Ocean for about 1600 kilometers, creating Arabian Sea in the west and Bay of Bengal in the east. No other country has such a long and extensive coastline on this ocean as India has, The Indian Ocean is truly Indian Ocean, isn't it? That the Indian Ocean is truly the Indian Ocean. The transoceanic routes. What is that transoceanic? It means that the trade is carried on between two oceans. So that is what the transoceanic routes connecting Africa, industrially advanced Europe, petroleum rich West Asia to Southeast Asian countries, isn't it? And the West Australia and the western coast of USA pass through India. Right. Now let me tell you something about that India shares borders with the 7 countries also, and these countries are the immediate neighbors, as just now I have discussed with you. Sri Lanka and Maldives, the 2 island countries located in Indian Ocean. Okay, Sri Lanka and Maldives, and from the map pointing that this is also important. Right? So, you should practice this in your map work also, that Sri Lanka and Maldives are the 2 island countries located in Indian Ocean. Right? Sri Lanka is separated from India by Gulf of Mannar. This is also important. Park Strait, Gulf of Mannar, island countries from the map pointing. Right? So, Sri Lanka is separated from India by Gulf of Mannar and Park Strait. Now, if I ask you what is this strait or what is this gulf, so the question also comes that mention one difference between these two, or what do you know about this? Sorry. Strait. This is in fact a narrow piece of sea that joins 2 larger areas. Right, or larger seas in fact, not the areas but larger areas. So, a narrow piece of sea that joins 2 larger seas. For example, Strait of Gibraltar, Strait of Hormuz, and right, Strait of Gibraltar, Strait of Hormuz, and that lies between Persian Gulf and Gulf of Oman. Okay, and as far as the Strait of Gibraltar, Atlantic Ocean to the Mediterranean Sea. So, what is this? The strait, a narrow piece of sea that joins 2 larger seas. Okay, now a gulf. What is this gulf? I think you must have read it in junior classes, but anyways, I must remind you that a part of the sea that is almost surrounded by the land. For example, Bay of Fundy, Bay of Bengal. Okay, so this is what there is a difference between these two. One is a narrow piece of sea that joins, and gulf, a part of sea that is almost surrounded by the land. Okay, now let me tell you something about the Indian subcontinent. The vast size of India has endowed her with great diversity. There are lofty mountains, and the Indian Gangetic Brahmaputra plain in the north and the Peninsular Plateau region in the south. Vast sandy expanse of Marusthali. Remember Marusthali. What about this? Expanse of Marusthali in the north and west, large rivers like Ganga, Brahmaputra, Indus, Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, all these flow through the length and the breadth of the country. So bounded by the Himalayas, right? Lofty mountains like Himalayas in the north and Hindu Kush, where Hindu Kush and Suleiman ranges where? In which parts? In the northwest. Purvanchal Hills, where is it? In the northeast. And by large expanse of Indian Ocean in the south. So it forms a great geographic entity known as Indian subcontinent. It includes the countries like Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh and India. Okay, Indian subcontinent. Along with other mountain ranges, the Great Mountains Wall of Himalayas act as a formidable physical barrier, right? Physical barriers and separates the Indian subcontinent from the rest of Asia. So except for a few mountain passes such as Khyber, the Bolan, the Shipkila, the Nathula and Bomdila, etc., it is difficult to cross, right? So that this our lofty mountains of Himalayas act as a barrier, the natural barriers. Okay, so it's difficult to cross from these passes. It has contributed towards evolving of a unique regional identity of Indian subcontinent. So India, as far as the neighbors are concerned, you can see one very important thing, that India shares its land borders with the 7 countries, and these countries I have mentioned that Pakistan, Afghanistan, China, Nepal, Bangladesh, Myanmar and Bhutan. So obviously these are our immediate neighbors. Sri Lanka and Maldives, just now I have discussed with you, are the 2 island countries located where? In which ocean? In Indian Ocean, which are our neighbors, and Sri Lanka is separated from India by the Gulf of Mannar and Park Strait. And Park Strait and Gulf of Mannar, okay, and island countries. I have just now told you that these are very, very important from the examination point of view as far as pointing it on or locating it on the map of India. Okay, so that's all about it for today. Have a good day.